Hello and welcome to this week's Forex Outlook here at XM.com. I'm Andreas Georgiou, currency analyst, and I'm here with my colleague Rafi Boyajan. So Rafi, the US currency has been moving higher this week. There is growing optimism of tax reform actually materializing in the US, and this has supported the greenback. Most notably, the US currency has gained against the New Zealand dollar, the Japanese yen, and the British pound. Now, a catalyst that has pushed the QE lower is the fact that the Labour-led coalition got into power, with markets effectively pricing in uncertainty on the economic policy front. Now, the divergent monetary policies in the US and Japan are hurting the Japanese currency, and in terms of pound dollar rather, it's been moving lower due to uncertainty over Brexit, but also some dovish interpreted comments by MPC policymakers, including the BOE Governor Mark Carney. Now, in terms of next week, let's move to next week, Rafi. The highlight of the week is expected to be the ECB meeting. Can you talk to us about that?
That's right. So this is going to be the long-awaited ECB policy meeting, where we're expected to have an announcement on the ECB announcing a scaling back of their asset purchase program. There's been a lot of talk in the markets as to what the ECB will decide next Thursday. Apparently, based on various reports, they're discussing reducing the asset purchase from the current 60 billion monthly rate to somewhere between 25 to 40 billion. The most likely outcome, at least what most economists are expecting, is for it to be cut to around 40 billion per month. But it's hard to say whether or not they will extend this by 6 months or 9 months. That's going to be quite hard to predict. And also the ECB is going to have a very difficult task in terms of how they communicate their decision, because if they come across as overly hawkish, that would definitely help the euro extend its 12% yearly gains so far this year against the US dollar, which has already raised some alarms with some certain ECB Governing Council members. So it's going to be quite tricky for the ECB to try to send a message to the markets that although they are withdrawing their asset purchase program, they're doing it at a very gradual pace, and that they're going to maintain that commodity stance for some time to come. And preferably, they're going to want the euro. They're not going to want to give an excuse for the euro bulls to send the euro even higher.
And remaining on the central bank policy, front, a day before that, on October 25th, the Bank of Canada will be completing its meeting as well. What's your view on that, Rafi?
So yeah, we do have another meeting by the Bank of Canada. We know that they already raised rates twice this year, in July and in September. As for October, the consensus estimates is that the Bank of Canada will keep rates on hold at 1%. However, what they say in their statement could possibly send some signals as to whether or not we can expect a rate hike in December. Both markets and economists are split around 50-50, around the odds of 50-50 chance of a rate hike, a third rate hike by December. We've already seen the loonie rally sharply against the US dollar. So depending on what they say, they could definitely drive the loonie even higher next week.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And in terms of important data next week, Rafi?
So the key data to watch out for next week is going to be UK and US GDP. We're going to have the first estimates for the third quarter, and it's going to be quite a big contrast between the two countries. We're seeing growth in the US accelerate, although in the US in the third quarter, of course, there's going to be some hit from the hurricanes. We saw US second quarter GDP being revised up to 3.1%. We're expecting slightly slower pace of 2.6% annualized rate in the third quarter, but that's still a fairly acceptable figure for advanced economies. In the UK, though, we're seeing very sluggish growth. We saw in the first half growth at just 0.3%, and we expect third quarter growth to remain around 0.3%, and that's unlikely to make much of a difference as to whether or not the England will be raising rates in November because, of course, we've got strong inflation in the UK due to the pound's depreciation.
And of course, let's not forget about Japanese elections taking place on Sunday. They've also played a role in dollar-yen rising this week. According to the latest polls, the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's ruling coalition is expected to roughly secure the two-thirds supermajority it held in the parliament's lower house before the elections, something which of course will translate into a continuation of Abenomics with a reflationary economic agenda. This is also seen as increasing the odds of BOJ maintaining its ultra-loose monetary policy, which of course over the medium to longer term is expected to put pressure on the Japanese currency relative to other major currencies.
That's right. The elections, I think markets have already priced in a win for Abe, but like you said, whether or not they win a two-thirds majority, we could see some volatility for the yen when trading starts on Monday.
Thank you very much for your analysis, Rafi. Thank you everyone for watching and have a great day.